because I'd been through the Pentagon right after 9/11. About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who had used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They've just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." And he said, "I guess if the only tool you have is a hammer, every problem has to look like a nail." So I came back to see him a few weeks later, and by that time we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today, and he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Today is Monday, October 8th, 2018. I know, 8/18, right? Wait, 10/8/18, right? Anyways, we're 2 days away from 10/10/18. I don't know if you guys have heard, but you know, the peanut galleries out there are pretty much saying that the whole crash, everything is going to come to an end in a couple days. So I mean, I don't know, whatever, we'll see in a couple days together, but to me, it's kind of pretty interesting because I don't know about you guys, but you know, last week, the first week of October has been pretty, you know, weird, pretty intense, yeah, this past weekend, same thing. I wake up this morning, everything just feels different, weird. I don't know, man. I feel like there's literally something in the air. And no, it has nothing to do with all the rain, storm, clouds, which again, are not normal for this part of the world at this time of year either. But hey, look, at least it's like almost 11 o'clock in the morning and it feels almost kind of like a Seattle weather out here. I know, not bad, right? Not bad for being in the tropics and not sweating my balls off for once. So that's going, you know, and again, no chemtrails out here, so, you know. But what are we going to talk about today? Well, I wake up this morning, I find out the bond markets, you know, they're not even open. Stock market opens up and it's fucking tanking again. They're trying to prop it up. We already know, I talk about this plenty of times, you know, where the bond market, the dollar, emerging markets, all these things are correlated. They have a lot to do with what's going to happen with cryptos in the future and so on and so forth. And oh cool, my neighbor's playing his oboe, so a little background music. So, you know, all that's happening. You know, I was watching Gregory Mannarino today, which I didn't even think he was gonna have an episode, but he comes out and he pretty much said, you know, what I was thinking as well, that if the Dow, if the stock market, if all these things are tanking again tomorrow, the dollar is strong tomorrow, that could be the very, very beginning of the end. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Wednesday could be a possibility, or this week, so on and so forth. Because again, even if we have a major downturn on Wednesday, it will not be till Friday when they fucking talk about it. You get what I'm saying? Oh, cool. Just got an email from Acapulco. I'm gonna check on that. Yeah, speaking of which, I gotta start working on that. Time flies, man. I can't believe Acapulco is gonna be like, what? 1, 2, 3, 4 months away? Shit. That flies. Anyways, speaking of which, yeah, I kind of think I feel like I've fixed my situation out here with immigration, kind of, sort of, not really. I'm trying to work on that, but regardless, yeah, it's a little more complicated than what I thought. But anyways, if anyone really cares about that, we can talk to me about that in private, DM me, whatever. You know, we'll go from there. But what are we going to talk about today? Well, you know, there's not much to talk about when it comes to, you know, cryptos at the moment. You know, they're just the same old shit, same old fucking tired ass fucking news. But you know something I do want to talk about? We're going to talk about Venezuela.
This is outrageous. Where are the armed men who come in to take the protesters away? Where are they? This kind of behavior is never tolerated in Boracua. You shout like that, they put you in jail right away. No trial, no nothing. Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists. You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail. You're charging too high prices for sweaters, glasses, you right to jail. You undercook fish, believe it or not, jail. You overcook chicken, also jail. Undercook, overcook. You make an appointment with the dentist and you don't show up, believe it or not, jail, right away. We have the best patients in the world because of jail.
Oh, hey guys, real quick. I just realized I talked about Venezuela, South and Central America, and I have not brought up the Petro, which is something that everyone's been talking about in the last couple days, and especially with the news of like, oh, you need 2 Petros in order to buy, in order to get a passport. These Petros are not even for sale. Oh, this is so horrible. Oh, Venezuela, they're bad. And it's just all this fake news because people have no fucking idea what's going on. So again, let me just reiterate in a few seconds what the fucking Petro is. The United States of America controls the value of every currency on the planet. A few years ago, when when Venezuela said, hey, we don't want to accept dollars anymore, all of a sudden, the United States decided to go to economic war with Venezuela. So, all of a sudden, overnight, and this happened gradually throughout the months and years, the last couple of years, but overnight, like in Venezuela, they would have something like this, and something like this could buy a coffee. And then a couple days later, something like this could not buy a coffee. And then all of a sudden you needed something like this, and then you needed something like this, and then, okay, just to buy, and then eventually it was like $1 million per coffee. And why? Because every day the US reevaluated the value of the Bolivar and thus creating economic havoc throughout the whole country. That's why it cost 1 million Bolivars for one coffee. It had nothing to do with the government of Venezuela and the president of Venezuela. It had everything to do with the Fed, with the US dollar, and so on and so forth. So when Maduro and the president, the president of Venezuela, Maduro and Venezuela decided, okay, we are going to release this thing called the Petro, a Petro coin, a cryptocurrency. Literally, what that meant was that, hey, we are going to release this new currency called the Petro. Now, okay, hold on, let me reverse for a second. So first of all, because every time the Venezuela said, okay, we're going to release a new Bolivar, a new one of these, then it will get reevaluated in dollars. So what Venezuela did is said, okay, what we're going to do is create these tokens. But by the way, if you hold US dollars, if you have euros, if you have anything in a bank account, you have tokens. So if you have euros in a bank account, you have European tokens, aka European Petro tokens. If you have US dollars in a bank account, meaning in a computerized form, you have Petro dollars in a sense. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what you have. So it's the same fucking thing. So the digital version of the Bolivars, okay, the representation that's going to be on a computer screen in a bank, okay, these things are going to be Petro tokens. They're not going to be straight up Bolivars. Why? Because if they're Bolivars, they get reevaluated like that, and then you have $1 million coffee again in overnight. So if all of a sudden they say, okay, we're going to have these new electric tokens, these new cryptocurrencies, and they're gonna derive their value from the daily price of oil and other commodities out there on the open market, then guess what? The US or no other entity, no federal bank, no Fed, no central bank, nobody can reevaluate that coin, because they would have to evaluate all these commodities and therefore fuck up the whole world economy, and therefore just to fuck with Venezuela, which they can't do, they won't do. It's impossible. So this is why this whole cryptocurrency thing that Venezuela has done is wow. You know, and Iran is going to do the same thing, and other countries are going to be falling in line and doing the same exact thing, okay? All they're doing is that they're creating a digital representation of their own currency. They're calling it a crypto and disassociating it from the dollar so that they can continue being a regular country and do business as usual. That's it. It's not that complicated. All right, guys. Watch the rest of the fucking video, okay? I'm sticking this in there somewhere. I don't know where. And we are going to be talking about Central America and South America. Why? Because, well, first of all, it's in all of our backyards, and especially my backyard. I'm living in Mexico now, so not sure if you guys are fully aware of what happened, was it last week or the week before that, when the UN, you know, met up, when every single country of the UN met up to talk. And you know, Trump had some choice words for Venezuela, some choice words for what's going to happen out there. You know, literally saying we're going to, if Cuba and Venezuela don't shape up, we might have to invade, kind of, sort of.
The United States has stood against the corrupt, destabilizing regime in Cuba and embraced the enduring dream of the Cuban people to live in freedom. My administration recently announced that we will not lift sanctions on the Cuban government until it makes fundamental reforms. We have also imposed tough, calibrated sanctions on the socialist Maduro regime in Venezuela, which has brought a once thriving nation to the brink of total collapse. The socialist dictatorship of Nicolas Maduro has inflicted terrible pain and suffering on the good people of that country. This corrupt regime destroyed a prosperous nation by imposing a failed ideology that has produced poverty and misery everywhere it has been tried. To make matters worse, Maduro has defied his own people, stealing power from their elected representatives to preserve his disastrous rule. The Venezuelan people are starving, and their country is collapsing.
Right now, I'm in the mall CCCT in Caracas, Venezuela. I'm going to have lunch in Subway, and I will pay in Dash, so follow me. So I'm scanning the POS system. It is 9.28. So this is the sandwich for 3 cents, and it should confirm the transaction in the POS in a few seconds. Ready. Nice. So they receive the payment. Listo, me da el sandwich y ya. So record this one. This thing. The POS, which shows the POS is broken. El punto dañado. So that's it. ¿Tienes flexibilidad, mi pana? Sí.
Their democratic institutions are being destroyed. This situation is completely unacceptable.
Abby, talk about the latest sanctions against Venezuela and why your show's been shut down as a result. I got to wonder, you know, is there more to this story? I can't help but think there is. What's your take?
Yeah, so just some quick background. I mean, even though the Bush administration was instrumental in that coup against Hugo Chavez in 2002, where they kidnapped him and shut down Telesur, sanctions weren't actually implemented against Venezuela until the Obama administration in 2015. Oddly enough, a country with the largest oil reserves in the world was randomly declared a unique national security threat from Obama. But Telesur was still able to function under those sanctions. It wasn't until the Trump administration, which really narrowed its focus on reinstalling hegemony in the region of Latin America that kind of got out of control during the Bush and subsequently Obama administration, that he really implemented draconian sanctions. And he kept escalating these sanctions, Pap, until the latest round completely seized Telesur's ability to function. And this was right after the Democratic re-election of Maduro in this landslide victory. And the U.S. penalized the Venezuelan people for the punishment of voting and electing the wrong candidate, according to the U.S. So what those sanctions have done is exactly as they are intended to do. They hurt the most vulnerable and poor people of any designated country. And so what we're seeing in Venezuela is, of course, the poorest of the people are not able to get food and medicine access. And, of course, course, that reason is used to exacerbate even more sanctions. But unfortunately, one giant collateral damage of the latest round of sanctions is to completely seize all operations of Telesur. So all contract journalists for the last 6 months have been unable to receive funds all around the world. And even though Telesur is funded by actually 5 Latin American countries, all of those countries' ability to transfer funds in and out through Caracas have also been completely halted, Pap. So we're left kind of wondering what's next here. And if this is some sort of a larger operation going along with the whole online censorship coordination with these tech giants and the U.S. government here.
And we cannot stand by and watch. As a responsible neighbor and friend, we and all others have a goal. That goal is to help them regain their freedom, recover their country, and restore their democracy. I would like to thank leaders in this room for condemning the regime and providing vital support to the Venezuelan people. The United States has taken important steps to hold the regime accountable. We are prepared to take further action if the government of Venezuela persists on its path to impose authoritarian rule on the Venezuelan people. We are fortunate to have incredibly strong and healthy trade relationships with many of the Latin American countries gathered here today. Our economic bond forms a critical foundation for advancing peace and prosperity for all of our people and all of our neighbors. I ask every country represented here today to be prepared to do more to address this very real crisis. We call for the full restoration of democracy and political freedoms in Venezuela. The problem in Venezuela is not that socialism has been poorly implemented, but that socialism has been faithfully implemented. From the Soviet Union to Cuba to Venezuela, wherever true socialism or communism has been adopted, it has delivered anguish and devastation and failure. Those who preach the tenets of these discredited ideologies only contribute to the continued suffering of the people who live under these cruel systems.
I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
I guess.
Guy keeps pulling in his hours. It's probably fake, but you know what?
223 dispatch, shots fired. Subject is down. You grab my taser.
That boy's leg looks broke. His leg broke and y'all dragging him like that.
And at the same time, the president of Mexico said, listen, we're not going to stand for that shit. The president of, Bolivia, Peru, things like that, we're all coming out saying the same thing. Again, the only countries that might not agree with this would be Brazil, would be Colombia. That could be a problem. We already know what happened with the elections yesterday in Brazil, that the right-wing guy won. He hasn't won the election yet. They're going to go to round 2 now, but he most likely will win. He is, again, Trump times 10. Between him and Colombia, yeah, they could start something in Venezuela. Now, who knows if they will start something in Venezuela? As we already know, Trump, for a while, when he was dealing with North Korea, he was talking about, you know, little fucking Asian fat boy and stupid missiles, and he kept making fun of him and like, you know, war, we're gonna go to war. And then before you knew it, peace treaty. So, you know, it would not surprise me at all if all this is rhetoric and bullshit and just, you know, just to get the mainstream media on one side, get everybody to think one thing, and then before you know it, he's fucking having Maduro at the White House and they're, you know, shaking hands and signing some sort of treaty. So, who knows? Remember what I was talking to you guys about last week, or maybe I was on Discord, but when I was bringing up, you know, the whole thing with Mexico legalizing drugs and so on and so forth, and now that, you know, we're listening what's going on in the Middle East, and they're saying that they are going to start taking all the troops out of Afghanistan, and you know, the war hawks are pretty much saying, like, well, okay, we're going to bring all our troops back from Afghanistan, but then we're just going to hire mercenaries to take their place, which again, that's not what we want, and most likely, hopefully, that's not what's going to happen. But you can already see what I was talking about yesterday might not be that far-fetched, where it's like, why go all the way to the other side of the world to go get fucking opium or, you know, the illegal drugs when you can fucking grow them legally in your backyard, aka Mexico, and Mexico will be more than happy to fucking grow whatever fucking drug you want, you know, to make heroin, to make opiates, and just sell it, you know, like sell it like if it's fucking soybeans or milk or whatever. And again, you know, like the people of Mexico, you know, the people in power are already talking about it and saying it in exactly those words. The people out here, that's another thing I'm loving about Mexico. People out here don't mince their words too much. They literally say what's on their fucking mind, and they just say it, and this is the way it is, and that's it. So that's already been said by, you know, the Jeff Sessions of Mexico. You know, like the guy that would be like the Jeff Sessions out here, or the general. You know, literally, he's like the general, the guy that's in charge of all this shit. You know, the war on drugs or whatever. You know, he's the one that's pretty much said that. And as you know, there's a major fucking problem with violence, the cartels, and all this bullshit out here. And they want to put a stop to that shit like that. Like they're done. You know, they're already done with that shit. And even though Trump and the president of Mexico are buddy, they're completely different. Literally, you know, they're both exactly the same, and they both have the same kind of attitude, you know, like hardcore, but they're both very different, you know what I mean? Like how they want to kind of take their countries, but they want to keep both countries nationalistic and so on and so forth. So, you know, me living out here in Mexico, I think is a great fucking thing and a great idea. You know, the more I see what's happening in the US, it's like, fuck, man, I'm kind of glad I got out of there. You know, I love the US and I love my country, but I mean, come on. You already know what's going on out there.
What? Arresting me for what? I'm not allowed to stand up for myself? I thought this was America. Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
And I hope I'm wrong. You know, I really do want to return home at some point, you know, and I don't want to be like returning home like a decade from now, but more like, you know, a few months from now or a year from now. Just to, at the very least, visit my fucking friends and family, right? Anyways. But regardless, there's a lot of fucking things happening right now all across the world. We already know the emerging markets are tanking. It's causing an effect to our markets. China is still considered an emerging market, and even if it wasn't considered an emerging market, they're fucking tanking, you know what I mean? And so on and so forth. So, you know, we're watching what things that are happening in South America, you know what I mean? Whether it's Argentina, you know, dealing with the IMF and dealing with their peso, and, you know, they might institute the dollar, and then what you'd see with what's happening in Brazil and the presidential elections yesterday, a few hours ago. We're looking at what's happening in Venezuela, you know, and they're literally mobilizing their troops and putting them on the border with Colombia, because they are, you know, literally on red alert, because Colombia is, you know, Colombia is threatening to do the same and invade. And then again, it's like if you when talking to Colombia, you know, and asking the president of Colombia, hey, why are you invading Venezuela? And they'll literally say straight up, it's like, oh, because, you know, we don't like Venezuela, we don't like their politics, and we don't like what's going on over there, so fuck it, we're done. We're gonna just fucking take over. What? Exactly. So, you know, that's like if Georgia and Florida are fighting, and then all of a sudden Georgia's like, you know what? We don't like the laws that you guys have out there in Florida, so we're just gonna send our fucking National Guard to Florida, and we're gonna fucking attack Florida. What? Yeah, okay. And you already know, the biggest supporter of Colombia is the U.S., and literally Colombia is a puppet state of the United States of America. They, for obvious reasons, with cocaine, so on and so forth. So they want that to happen. Again, if Mexico really does go through on the whole drug trade thing and say, hey, we're going to start growing legal heroin and selling it to the U.S., we're going to start growing legal cocaine and selling it to the U.S., you know what I mean? Things like that. It's like, there's a lot of fucking dominoes that are going to start falling. So, right now, I'm on the fence with Trump. We don't fucking know if this is rhetoric in which he really wants to go to war with Central America and South America, which I doubt. I don't think he's that stupid. Or he could go to war with them. But again, we already know that the war hawks, the neoliberals, all these motherfuckers, the Obamas and Hillarys of the world and the Democrats of the world, they want to go straight up to war. And they definitely want to go to war, and they still have some control of what's going on. The central banks still have control of what's going on. So, if you watch some of my other YouTube videos or you watch other YouTube videos out there, you will plainly see that, right now, when you're looking at the Caribbean and everywhere around everywhere around Venezuela, Guyana, south of Puerto Rico, there's the chain of islands around there, and pretty much that whole area of the Caribbean, right now you can look and you will literally see it's full of Navy fleets, everywhere from destroyers to aircraft carriers to you name it. We got the whole fucking shebang out there. Now, China and Russia are also out there, but the point is that we're out there and we're just hanging out and we keep bringing more ships every single fucking day out there. So who knows? And I forgot who, but somebody, one of the congressmen or whatever from Tennessee is going to go visit Venezuela today or tomorrow or whatever and literally tell Maduro, hey, listen, this is your last chance. You either comply with the U.S. or look outside, look over there to the water. Look, you see all those fucking Navy ships? They're pointing their fucking guns straight at you. So, but again, if the U.S. were to all of a sudden say, hey, we're going to invade Venezuela, do you think that Russia and China are going to be okay with that? No, I sincerely doubt that. So again, who the fuck knows? You know what I mean? We're either World War III could be starting in our backyard, or it could just be, more bullshit rhetoric, just trying to, hey, look over here, don't look over there. All right? So these are things that we really need to keep an eye on, because again, guys, I know you guys don't think it's, that crazy, but you guys have to remember, Caracas, literally the capital of Venezuela, the biggest city in Venezuela, is closer to Miami than Miami is to Los Angeles. Literally, I think Caracas is actually closer to Miami than Miami would be to New York. And just so you can get and put these things into fucking perspective, guys, that's how fucking close all these things are. So I sincerely doubt that we will break into World War III in our backyard. But again, we have seen more insane and crazy things in the past, in history, and I would not put any of this beyond the people in power at the moment. So yeah, that's happening. So with all that being said, I'm just, today is just a little quick news update on what's going on south of the border. There's a lot of fucking things happening. Again, another story is that the president of Mexico that's leaving, the Obama of Mexico, he just, he's literally right now, as of this moment, he is doing underground illegal contract negotiation talks with the U.S. corporations, with certain U.S. corporations, to sell all the water from the Rio Grande and all the water on the border of the U.S.-Mexico border, literally, to benefit Arizona, Mexico, and Texas, and literally dry up all the water on, from Tijuana all the way out. You know what I mean? All the way out across the border, which is kind of crazy and fucked up. But again, we've seen these things happen already before, in other parts of the world. So, that's happening. The current president of Mexico, the one that's coming into power in the next few weeks, months, he already, is like, whoa, what are you doing? But the outgoing president is trying to do this underground. So, there's a lot of fucking things just like that. Just like what's happening in the U.S. right now with Trump and everybody going after Trump, and look at here, look at there, look at Kavanaugh, look at that, look at this. So, you know, I'm even watching Saturday Night Live, and yeah, sure, you know, it's Saturday Night Liberal, you know, like they were making fun of themselves. But again, guys, you got, if you have an open mind like I do, and you look at, you know, Saturday Night Live or things like that, which are very, very liberal, you really look at that with a fine-tooth comb, you really see that there's other agendas there. There's other right agendas, there's middle agendas, and so on and so forth, that really, they think like us, or think like the most of the people. But, you know, they remember, it's very liberal, so they can't say and do certain things. They got to hide all that stuff. So, you know, someone like me or you or even a conservative might be watching Saturday Night Live and be like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing. They kind of get it. They kind of whatever. So those are good signs. And I always look through Saturday Night Live and shows like that they really do try to push the boundaries no matter what. And that's why I love art, because through art you can, you know, send a message, and some people might not see it, and then others, a lot of others will be able to see it. And that's the beauty of art. Remember, it's all in the eye of the beholder. A picture tells 1,000 words, so on and so forth, etc., etc., etc. Again, why I love art, and I'm involved in art so much. So, anyways, guys, thanks again for watching. Don't forget to please like, please subscribe, please share. And yeah, tomorrow's going to be the beginning of a very interesting month. Well, it's already Red October, and it's already a very interesting month.
The most brilliant commander in the Soviet Navy.
Ramey has trained most of their officer corps. He's nearly a legend in the submarine community.
The most deadly submarine ever built.
This thing could park a couple of 100 warheads off Washington. Nobody'd know a thing about it until it was all over.
And once more, we play our dangerous game with our old adversaries, the American Navy.
His plan is a mystery.
A man with your responsibilities reading about the end of the world.
Apparently, he has suffered a kind of nervous breakdown in which he announced his intention to fire his missiles on the United States.
We want us to help you hunt him down, kill him.
Open the outer doors, firing point procedures.
We sail into history.
I'm gonna blow him right to Mars. Ramius might be trying to defect.
You're just an analyst. What can you possibly know what goes on in this mind?
I'll give you 3 days to prove your theory correct.
I am not field personnel. I am only an analyst.
You're perfect.
I'm expendable. He's defecting. You willing to bet your life on that?
From the best-selling novel by Tom Clancy. From the director of Die Hard.
Give this man a chance.
My orders are specific. Battle stations.
Sean Connery, Alec Baldwin, James Earl Jones, Scott Glenn, Sam Neill. The Hunt for Red October.
And so on and so forth. And there's a lot more interesting things down the pike, but I really do feel that, I mean, last week, if last week was any indication of things, we already know that this week is already going to be very interesting on a global scale, on an economic scale, and on a lot of scales, especially for us that we're really keeping tabs and watching all this stuff, you know, develop. So it's going to be very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. And again, what a beautiful time to be alive, because, you know, we're literally, this is history in the making. We're watching history. We're creating history. We're all part of history. This is crazy. This is awesome stuff, you know. You can't make any of this shit up. You actually write this and make this a movie, all the things that are happening at the moment, and people were like, bro, this is fantasy. It's, you know, it's too crazy. All these things cannot be happening, you know what I mean? It has to be a movie. But no, you know what I mean? If you literally watch what's happening on a global scale, on a second-to-second basis, day-to-day basis, you're like, wow, this is fucking insane. This is the best movie I've ever seen in my life. And it's non-stop action. All right, guys. I really hope to God that you know, we have a great week. I really hope that we all get to benefit from everything that's happening, and that we start mooning real soon. And I really do think that we will. I think we will start seeing a moonshot at some point, either by the end of the month or definitely November. I mean, come on, you know. Yeah, you already know why I think November is no matter what. You know what I mean? Once November hits, it's to the fucking moon.
Till November, said I'll be gone till November, I'll be gone till November. You tell my girl, yo, I'll be gone till November, I'll be gone till November, I'll be gone till November.
Period. But I think we're gonna start going north, starting at the mid-month. All right. All right, guys. That's it. It's a mouthful. You know me. I can't stop talking. Anyways. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please share. Please keep sharing the knowledge. Please join me here tomorrow. Join me here always. Oh, and don't forget, I will probably be doing Twitch on Wednesday and Thursday. Friday, I'm doing an early show, and I'm out of here because I got a long weekend. I'm going to be hanging out with my friend. Everything's finally good. I miss her. You know, I'm going to be doing a bunch of stuff. We're going to be hanging out, just regular stuff. I don't want to get into too many details, but I can't wait. It's already Monday, and I can't wait for the weekend. Like, for real, all right? Like, for real. I'm about to fucking explode, all right? Anyways, yeah, too much information. Or not enough information. Whatever. Who cares? I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. And, oh yeah, don't forget to check these guys out, okay? I just made a new one of these things, you know? Yeah, you already know. It changes all the time, like me. Peace, love, and prosperity. And buy those Litecoins. Buy the Litecoins. And Bitcoin. Don't forget, buy Bitcoin. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks again for your patronage. You guys are freaking awesome, the best. I mean, seriously, I love you to death. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but just a quick shout out to everyone out there. And if you want to help and contribute, continue making sure that this show is here and continues to grow, and I get to produce as much content as humanly possible. You can hit me up here. You can also hit me up here. All the addresses are at the bottom description of this video and every video, and you can hit me up with whatever you want to hit me up with. Thank you so much. Also, please, if you guys want some crypto clothes, check out the Crypto Outfitter, one of a few sponsors we have here on the channel. Just go to his website. We got links at the bottom to get you guys discounts and all kinds of good stuff. So you can go and get, again, whether you want t-shirt, socks, coffee mugs, you name it. You can also even buy coffee from Erwin's Coffee, which he roasts his own coffee himself, and you can pay for coffee with crypto. And yeah, check out the webpage. You know, there's a bunch of cool stuff here, and so on and so forth. Also, check out streammaster.biz, you know, for all your streaming needs. Another sponsor. You know, get yourself this amazing media player, and you'll be able to stream anything from sports to to channels out there, and so on and so forth. Sorry, I'm trying not to say too much. If you want any more info, please just check out the link at the bottom of the description of this video, and you can check out more. And again, I want to say a humongous thank you to all of you guys out there, every single one of you. We got 369. We got 769. Sorry, I got a little distracted with that 69. But anyways, we're moving every single day. We got more and more people hanging out, chilling, watching the videos, contributing to the community, so on and so forth. And also, please check us out on Discord. We got Discord. We have we're everywhere. We got a humongous Jose Arteaga community with a bunch of you guys contributing, and the more the merrier. So again, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and just keep it coming, guys. Keep all the fucking awesomeness coming, all right? And I will too. Thank you so much. I love you. And just so you know, I'm here. Peace out. Thank you so much for everything. You guys are the best. See you in the next video, as always. Peace.